But Fnatic is the one that always sits at the top.
That's it. No more true in this matchup than anywhere else. For Vitality, from the very get-go, they're on Fnatic's map, on split, and starting out on the attack side. A chance to set the pace, set the tone of this series. Right from the very first barrier up already, pressure towards B. The spike was being taken in that direction, but it's not even the utility that slows them down. This was never intended to be a hit, but merely to open space, and it has done just that. Look at where Sayonara has managed to slither his way into. That's going to be a really big payoff coming in the late round if they can make the most of it.
Yeah, it's if they go back in that direction. I wonder if his goal is to almost just try and catch any rotations. If they were to go that way, it seems like they're still fixated on this B side of the map, where Fnatic do have the right read. 4 players ready and waiting for this take to come in. Sayonara on the first fight has already lost it. Now the rest of them make their move, and into the blender they go. Everybody on the Fnatic side just waiting for them to make a push. And with a spike down and 2 players already tagged low, it's already looking like a pistol in Fnatic's favor.
A really good awareness of the space that they gave up. I think hinging a lot of responsibility for that round on Crashies. If an A hit did come through, especially a mid-split through vents, he would have been in a lot of trouble. His position was up on the rafters right here. And it's a risky spot to be in if you get split. You're not really going to get out of there, especially as a Sky. You're popping those flashes, but stacking up the strength on this side of the map. This round seems already done. Very much uphill battle, no time for him to even get close, to be honest. Chronicle will end up dropping a few here. Some orbs to be farmed, but the time gone, the round secured, and for Fnatic, the playbook's already working out in their favor.
Yeah, good read from them off the rip. I think that's always going to be the case in these sort of matchups.
One enemy remaining.
We talk about the coaching half.
No problems, baby.
The coaching staff here. Of course, he's talking about the fact that there's no extra bonus of credits because Chronicle actually stays alive. So you can see he's invested a little bit here, but now has quite a bit less than everybody else. So we'll see if those loss of credits will make him suffer into the next. Or if he can do some damage. No, immediately down.
A.
Well, they've still got another weapon, but not going to be too good on range. Up against a Vandal, up against an Outlaw as well. Although I can see Crashies potentially offering an opportunity. It is, of course, the bookie in the hands of Durka that now very quickly fell to the floor. A pistol for Prophet perhaps could be the next bastion of hope for Vitality. But really in this round, with decent investments, damage is all they're looking for. It's actually the weaker weapon of the lot, the lowest of HP on Sayonara, and he's the one to take a kill. But how much more can they get? How much more damage can they apply to Fnatic? Alfier's making sure it's next to none. Beautiful double, and a closer from Kayak. Just a shot away. There it is, a 2-0 start for Fnatic. Convincingly at that, the game plan on the pistol, rotations, no panic, and now they dominate in the fights. Although Vitality are about to have their big guns.
Yeah, Alfier is a massive talking point in this series. If you go back to their first matchup, and even in a map that they lost, he was dropping 33 kills. So the guy has been on, coming back for stage 1, and was on when they were playing back at kickoff as well. Definitely trying to pick up the mantle of where Chronicle left off, and so far he's been doing that. Still though, a long way to go in this series, and a few vulnerabilities as Vitality come in with their first buy round.
Well, the pressure being applied, blood in the water, that's what Vitality think they're sensing, and it certainly seems to be the case. Crashies and Kayak overrun, and let's see how Vitality handle this post plant.
Spike planted.
Guys. I'm taking flash down.
Nice. Just leave. Rat, heaven picking. City right now.
Nothing.
Yeah, race City.
Can we double pick heaven?
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
one, two.
I can main now.
Oh.
I have your main.
Can you jiggle main right now, Yampi?
Stefan has it.
I have main.
I'm towering up heaven.
I pick up.
I'm with you.
City, both city.
Enemy remaining.
Come on, boys!
Oh. And it's so flawless. Not a bad round to listen in. You can hear those sort of moments where they're just clearing out additional angles, making sure they peak at the same time. making those switch-ups. But these are the sort of things we were seeing from Durka in that early match. Those super aggressive takes, fast pace from Vitality in towards that A site. And then the fact that Durka is able to close out the round at the end, a 4-piece for him. A turn of tides, a first on the board, but of course for Fnatic, this is where they can just buy right back in and have their rifles.
Right there.
Yeah, no worries for that side. You could see, even at the start of the round, you said there were weaknesses there for Fnatic, and I think it's why we saw a much more direct approach from Vitality. Pressure those weaknesses, watch them buckle, and fill in the space left behind. But that's not going to be the approach this round. A default, spread across the map, holding for contact on the extremities, and pressuring that mid-control. Such a big part of this map. Good sees as the orb goes down, and they'll get a pick off of it. Really nice utility and great timing from that attacking side. Now they can look to pressure the weaknesses because they've got the numbers advantage.
Yeah, big name to take down early. We're just talking about the impact we've seen. Durka has taken a bit of a tag though. And no Sky on their side in order to get the health back. You can see Kayak's trying to be a little bit cheeky around some of those aggressive angles on A, and they have pushed up in B main as well. So starting to piece together where Vitality are going, but a lot of it will still be on Kayak.
Yeah, I mean, he is surrounded, and it looks like dropping in to help was Vakash, but he'll get nothing done. The leader of Vitality, certainly leading in the kill department in this one. He's taken every single player that's on the floor out of the round, as Fnatic only have Brashies left. The B-site duo were holding it down, and when push came to shove, a retake became a save. For them, carrying these weapons forward, the only port of call, and well, that's Vitality right back in the game early on. A 2-0 start for Fnatic, looking pretty convincing, but when the rifles come out, so far Vitality looking like the better squad. Early days, though.
Yeah, haven't had the time to sort of adapt, and I like the fact that Vitality is still having those sort of like early pressure in mid, falling back into one of those site hits. It didn't leave a whole lot of information for their opponents. And they're going to keep things nice and clean. Now, for the Fnatic side, they're still going to have a few credits in their back pocket. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to get that buy perfectly back onto the table. Of course, Crashies and Boaster holding on to a gun might force their hands, but it's also possible that they opt to light buy here just to make sure that they're not taking too many risks early on, because, of course, we know
Boss
that
has arrived on the server.
I think that Fnatic beat a team that clearly in Eternal Fire are a terrifying force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, that game yesterday was
and
wild.
then Vitality beat, well, GX, who yesterday looked pretty poor.
Suboptimal.
So I think that
everything.
we're still yet to really find where both teams sit. We expect them both to be up there in the contention for qualification. So I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's just who comes out on top this time around. Hot flash ready, stun ready, and it's worked out wonderfully, but a stunned up Crashies can only get one with a rifle. Bear in mind, they didn't invest here. And smart from Durka just to make sure that, okay, they didn't have too many guns to play with. Let's not give them any more.
Now, you might not be singing, but I've seen that play before, that's for sure. Nasty stuff, just a contact flash up close. There is genuinely nothing you can do about it. A Boaster down. There's a return for Vitality to the lead, a 4 versus 3. The pressure off, but Vakash, he's going to take the timing. He dodges the judge shots as well, the danger averted, but it looks like he'll back off, not wanting to continue the press on, and then what would likely be him throwing his life away. But Alpha's all alone. The rifle recovered. They're searching for it, and Chronicle, well, he knows Alpha's tricks. Certainly played with him enough to figure out his playbook. Now Vakash finds
30
one,
seconds left.
loses a lot of health, but recovers a rifle. This is still a dangerous round. I'm imagining that rifle's going to go to Kayak, and I've seen stranger things than him clearing up 3 kills like this.
Yeah, all to the back of the site. Vitality players going exploring. It's going to be the bait, trying to give an opportunity to Kayak. Sometimes an opportunity is all he needs. 2 quick kills, leaving it down to him versus Durka. Bear in mind, Durka doesn't have a rifle to play with. He's got a stick on those closer angles. He was seen throwing guns out of the map, but a judge from that range will finish the job. A low buy from Fnatic that comes dangerously close, but Vitality do still take the round.
Yeah, you can fill his spots, but you can't fill his boots. Well played there by Durka. Man who could have met his end if Crashies was looking the other way. You see that Sky play again, it's just disgusting. And you're going to see so much more of it now that Sky is back to the old reliable, with although longer timings, the refreshing flashes.
Nice, Durka. Come on!
We'll see her in this rotation much more often. A confidence builder for Vitality, now 3 in a row.
Face your fear.
Here's the rifles for Fnatic. The full buy and full aggression from Durka. He's ran it down, and he's not stopping anytime soon. Already in their spawn when the ult comes out, the up close in danger. And although the Sky Flash hits, Durka hits harder. The 3-piece, and the round in tatters with only Boaster left. A 1v3, but the first found.
Paranoia misses. Yeah, the rest of the utility won't, and it seems like it's been thrown across that they might just be low. Sat on an angle with a shorty. A close range battle, and Boaster's trying to give himself a little bit of space. Might not even realize that anybody was playing this close by. It's almost just a contact play, and the contact is enough. But the story of this round, yeah, it revolves around one man. They're throwing in a Nightfall just to give him more of an opportunity to get kills with the judge. This is terrifying. This man has definitely been watching those Danby demos.
The difference as well between last time when Fnatic went from a mix buy and Vitality came out aggressive. Then Fnatic get the rifles up and Vitality are respectful. They sit back, they wait, they look for aggression. And in this round, they say, oh, Fnatic have the rifles out again. Should we go back to respecting them, giving them the space, fighting them, brawling them for control? No, no, no. It's an execution. Barriers up and players down within seconds, and the advantage carries through to this round. Fnatic have pistols, a light buy across the board with only one player having shields, and even, two, sorry, and even then they're light shields, so that Outlaw gonna be a big danger. Durka, well, he keeps on going. There's the opening. They might not expect Boaster to be this close, and the boombot's gone by. However, they're not silly enough to just go blitzing through that smoke.
Yeah, I think when you see a smoke that close.
Uh-oh.
Nice shot, though, from Kayak.
It's a spike.
I was going to say the main danger of this round is gone with the showstopper of Alpha, yeah, but
Bring them down.
there's always danger. With the 10 individuals down on that stage. A decent amount of space picked up, but still a lot of unknowns for Vitality. And with that time slowly ticking away, 45 seconds, they do have to start to worry just a little bit. Constant use of those toxins, smokes, different piece of utility being activated, and surprise factor being caught. That was Yumpy trying to push towards the spawn. Again, that time is now down to 25 seconds, and they finally managed to clear Kayak. But as you mentioned, there was one unknown in this site.
Fnatic's leader, the leader of a lot of these players in the past, but Durka, well, he puts his old boss to bed.
Planted.
A plant found by Vitality, and the way back in now looking a lot more difficult for, well, impossible. Not for Fnatic, but for Vekaj, the last man standing, an ace on the cards for Durka. He's looking for it, but Prophet gets ahead of the action. 5 on the board, 5 in a row for Vitality on the attack side. They have taken full control of this game.
I'll be honest, it looked like Durka has spent the entirety of his break doing like the one-punch man training regime, where he's just got to a point where he's now unstoppable. He is running around like this is a death match versus his ex-teammates. Okay then, moving swiftly on.
Okay.
Hey, you know, Prophet's having a good time. He hasn't really had to do too much so far. He's 3-3, while Durka is 13-4 after just 7 rounds.
On the attack as well. It's a hell of a showing from him so far.
He's been going in first.
He's been going in alone at times with a judge. And again, alone, he rides into that sunset. Oh my goodness, he got so close to Alpha. Dropped him down to 30, showstoppers traded out, but it's all Fnatic in the kill feed. Finding a double, stopping the push. Not even slowing it, but sending them back to main. And that's about as well as that could have went, especially with a showstopper fired back in the other direction. He went for the heal. Instead, he's met the steal of the Outlaw, but only one. That's all Vitality have to work with. Even as Prophet TP's to side. No spike! What a shot! But he's got a player wrapping around his side, and Crashies holds tight on the angle. Fnatic finally back on the board with 5-3.
It seems like those B hits have definitely been a bit more of a struggle for Vitality. Like when they've defaulted back to A, the openers seem to come a little bit easier, but this really was just, can Durka go in alone, dodge a showstopper, and get the openers? Well, the answer this time was no, and then the showstopper the other way just doesn't quite land. And once they're stacked up in a crossfire, incredibly hard to break down. Prophet does give it a damn good try.
I'll show them.
Even still, though, I'm looking at that judge. Back in the hands of Durka. Now, this is not a financial decision. They have the credits to buy something better. This is just his weapon of choice. And kayaks.
Can definitely work out in breaking through that pit, get up close before the decay hits. He's already through to the other side, but hit by the snake bite. He's taking a lot of damage here. That's not decay. Just standing inside the snake bite's a bold move, and he'll get some of that health back from the way back out, but well, that judge player going to be much easier to take down. Normally, you've got to hit the headshot as they slide, but 2 to the body, more than enough at this stage.
Yeah, he's got rid of the pit, though.
Yeah,
like,
it is a decent trade-out.
That should have been far more difficult, but just the fear of what he has been able to do and not wanting to go back into a pit with Durka sat in a corner and a judge. That's why he waits there so long.
Yeah,
because he's expecting
guaranteed drops.
Vekaj to go back into position.
It's the nade as well from Sayonara that gets him into that spot in the first place. Like, you can see that this was the game plan from the get-go. They're likely to use their pit around that area. If they do, we know how to get it down.
Time is ticking, though. 30 seconds left.
30 seconds left.
They're starting to make way towards the B side, but the majority of players from Vitality are much closer to A. Still, 2 players going to be here. Alfia making his way back. Crashies has done well at the start, but there's still Kayak on this close entry. But they've gone a different way. They've gone past him, and Chronicle is expecting somebody to be within this. Currently, though, nobody defending, protecting the man on the spike. But they'll get the work done. Chronicle eventually, that backstab works out. Now Alfia needs to find a way back in. He hasn't done. Boaster, however, has.
I think as soon as Prophet gets the kill, you regret putting the pit up, but now you're going to be pretty thankful. Down to a 2v2. Boaster and Vekaj already quite low. And it looks like they're going to opt to play through the pit. They have a chance to drop out of heaven, but they don't want to re-clear that. A risky move, taking your low HP to virtually none. And, well, Boaster, an easy target, and so too will Vekaj be. They walk into the pit, but they will not be walking out. 6-3 for Vitality. And again, perhaps that round loss was just a blip on the radar. They've dealt with everything masterfully.
Yeah, even getting down to the last few seconds, I was very nervous when I think you see Kayak running through all of that utility.
If he runs in and drops the spike,
yeah,
the round's over.
Round
You've got 4 players on site, round's over.
I do think, though, we are getting to a point where we're going to see the most judge kills in a match of EMEA. Like, it's already getting out of hand.
It's a little wild. This is what we warned about in this meta. The neon is insane. Again, though, props to Chronicle, just looking back at that last round, for having the perfect read. He knew there could be a player in that corner, didn't overplay his hand, which could have led to the round loss. Instead, he's the one to interrupt what could have been the round-winning play from Fnatic. The Prophet can get out of here, no problem. And with the A side already under their control, this is where you have a difficult decision. How much space do you want to push into, knowing that your opponents are on pistols? They're likely grouped up. And them taking you down as a free weapon back in their hands, swapping positions. Though Vitality using this deep space towards screens, but they need to launch into heaven. They can't stop the defuse from there. An extra control would be nice.
I'm out of here.
Okay,
Who
well,
can
that's
stop
already
this?
half. Swing out from Durka will deny it.
Player
Alfia and Vekaj, though, are holding the line. Prophet now from above. They could just take him out. Vekaj is going to land it. They had the idea to reclaim control, but instead, they're caught by the fact they gave too much up on the site and had to re-aggress back through the screens.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Like, you see so many players in screens. That's great if you can keep pushing, if you can get into heaven. But, I mean, again, we see the problem here. You're getting picked off on the side is one thing, but when that defuse is tapped, you're forced into this fight. Breaking through screens like that with numbers, when the site's already been retaken, that's not a favorable fight for anyone to take. And now, Fnatic get another round on the board, chipping away at that lead from Vitality. 2 in it, and a tie still possible at halftime. Credits put into this by both sides, but it's Vitality who are starting to run a little bit low. on a few players. Even still, they've gone for the op on Durka.
Yeah.
A bit of a different play style. I hope this isn't going to be used as a shotgun.
It's a completely different look. With util being set up, I think that was just the counter to Vakaj. Like, we've seen that a few times where he's just waiting to fire that snake bite in, basically to deny the judge. And now an operator faced him, he's just not ready for it. Again though, Fnatic don't just sit back. Immediate pressure on B main, immediate pressure on A main. They're trying to reclaim ground of positions that, well, basically to counter the fact they've completely lost mid.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a key piece of the map. It's why you see Vitality gearing up so quickly to take down the Viper's Pit earlier on from Fnatic there. You control mid, you control the map, and for Vitality, they have gained it and a man advantage. Utility thrown out by Yumpy. Those steps will be heard, though, as he moves back and runs down through water. Does Kayak think it's a fake? No. The call already made. Crashies on the rotate. The B site will be reinforced if they wait a little bit longer, but Vitality getting ahead of it, already diving onto the site, dealing with Boaster. Alpha to be found on the back, but he lands one and a second. Holding his ground as backup arrives, swinging in for more. Alpha's hungry, and he was eating good for a moment. Kayak, oh, what a correction! He's found him. The Planto from Profek pressured up close, and he'll be dealt with too. Wonderful round from Fnatic.
Oh, wonderful round from Alpha, yeah. Sure, he had some supportive utility to help him out along the way, but these are the moments that he has been bringing throughout kickoff, throughout the first game of Stage 1. And it seems like someone they're desperately going to need in this series, because the read, again, it was pretty decent at the start, like just getting rid of that player. And even managing to get a second opener, but it's just Alfia, a turret at the back of the site that seems to be using some sort of auto-aim because just doesn't miss from those moments.
And we heard it on the desk earlier. Minnie said, and rightfully so, Alpha last year, towards the end especially, he looked like possibly the best player in the world. Damn, if he wasn't in the conversation for it, then you haven't watched a lot of Valorant. But this year he hasn't been able to hit that same stride. The kickoff curse wearing off.
It feels like Fnatic needs to win this one.
For both sides, I think that holds true. Deep play from Kayak, and a double in the pistol, asserting his dominance with his wall up, and a play in towards Heaven. They have to back out on that defensive side. Vitality conceding the space, but they look to quickly get back in, and they're sent right out of the round by Alfier, as Profek stands alone against a sea of red. It looks like the lead back into the hands of Fnatic.
Go, go, go.
Profek's now been spotted.
Spike planted.
Like there's any chance here, and he's going to end up being closed out. An in-zone flawless for Fnatic, taking themselves that second pistol round at that.
My stuff has malfunctioned yet.
Getting themselves back into the lead. It was the buy rounds where we saw those comebacks, but these are the sort of moments I like to see from this squad, because we've been wanting for a while, even though we know Alfier as a Sentinel player is incredible. I think his Vice at kickoff was also something to really enjoy. Yeah. You put them two running at people together, and it is terrifying. And on the other side of things, it's like, sure, Sayonara, we're yet to really see much of his duelist. It was definitely highly anticipated. I think especially if we get a Phoenix at some point, I'm really excited. So far, his Raze has been a little bit lackluster.
Toxin screen down.
Comes the pistols. The right click, well, they're getting a lot more opportunities than I think it should. That was a lackluster fight from the Rays indeed. Oh my goodness. Sayonara right on the kayak, damage done already. It was the low HP player, the one caught up by the spam, but now with the Bucky close, this could become a costly round if much more is found. One we can accept, but now clearing that Bucky on 1 HP, he still had a chance. Yumpy spotted up top. And needs to get a bit closer for that one-shot headshot. Now within the 10 meters, the bandit can be so dangerous, but not a shot fired before he's put in the ground. 8-6, and Fnatic, well, another strong start in the early half.
Yeah, lead extended. Probably a little bit more expensive than they may have liked. I believe they managed to retrieve the third rifle, so shouldn't be anything too bad. But these are the moments now where we get to see if Vitality are going to climb back into things again. My worry is setting up Durka on that attack side, putting your utility in and sending him first. I can see that working. On defense, they kind of can just avoid him if he's the only one popping off.
Well, that's where you got to keep changing the playbook, keep them guessing. For Vitality, movement towards the B site, 4 players there early, leaving Chronicle passive, but now he's surrounded. Fnatic, they have a chance to pounce on him, but they don't quite know it. The site wide open, and let's see what they make of this situation.
I have ulti, chill.
I have a one. Don't stay, 100 neon.
Give me some now, I have my ulti, okay? If they try to retake, I'm gonna scare them with my ulti.
I have bet now.
I will just ulti and don't do anything.
I have a smack for heaven in a sec, boys.
Is this elbow?
I'm just gonna ult now to make them scared.
Spawn, two spawn off it.
It's fine.
I'm gonna smoke heaven, Austin. We might have to
So you close it up?
together.
I'm
Just spawn together.
Just plant a default, boys, so...
You're coming out now.
Nothing,
I have a single.
nothing ramp.
I'm gonna flash out spawn.
Out, elbow.
I got spammed.
One after.
Now the old bottom time is ticking away, and the numbers on Vitality falling. Well handled here from the attack side. Good calls from Alpha. And the pumping of the brakes has somehow gotten them to the finish line. Well done. 9-6 now. And after Vitality clawing back into the game, getting into the lead, now they're starting to stall out.
Yeah, you can always, it's always nice to see the sort of theory of when that showstopper is used just for time. Like, you can normally guess when he's doing it, he doesn't push forward, but it is the plan the entire time from Alpha. It's like, okay, I'm going to use this, I'm not going to go in, I'm not going to risk my life, I'm not going to risk the time or anything, giving them a way back in. I just want them to sit there for a bit, because they can't risk doing anything while I have this ultimate online. And then they have to rush things. They have to move that a little bit quicker. And at a bonus round like that, such a huge ultimate to have online, and now a chance to really extend that lead to a point of maybe even no return.
Yeah, it's always nice to see those pieces of utility that you have your lower level opinion of it, of how good was it? Well, that comes down to how many people did you kill? And then
that won't
the higher
show up
level
on
of
your ACS.
Exactly. It won't show up in any stat. It probably looks bad on the stats because you'll just see ults fired versus kills. But in the end, the value found here is much higher indeed. Fnatic come into this round with a huge advantage, leveraged here by Vekash to get an easy double opener against the pistols. As they looked for information, they found it, but at a heavy cost. Vitality locked out of the A site now as the plant is soon to come in. The man who is dogging is the one going for the plant, but he'll grab himself an orb along the way. And while they delay, that guy's just lighting up targets downrange.
One enemy remaining.
All right, he's going to try and get as close to that Viper's pit, but still a fair few orbs away.
One from Seekers, though, for the next round. That could be very useful.
Sayonara. Dying to the spike might not necessarily be a bad thing. Picked up a Sheriff. Gonna get any kills from it? No, he can't. And as you said, looking for those Seekers online, and an in-zone flawless to boot. Fnatic looking very good on this attack side start.
Yeah, props to Kayak there. Just a good teammate, diving in, putting his life on the line. Once he gets his buddy an orb, by death or death dealing, it doesn't matter. A timeout called by Vitality this game. It was in close contention at the half. Kind of started to slip away on the defense. There is always time for them to come back into it, and we saw that from Fnatic as well. Keep in mind, they were 5-2 down at one stage and ended up neck and neck. But Vitality have to come up with answers, so it's time to touch base with Coach Powell. Few rounds shown from him, from Fnatic overall. A well-rounded showing in map number 1, but it's not over yet. 3 rounds away from locking in that 1-0 and taking another step in the, well, following the footsteps of history. for this organization, always helmed by Boaster. They always find the victory. But the defense, a big test. Timeout just called. Op in for Sayonara, but it's on the B side. Players with the rifles, the ones to hold the line, already vent control for Chronicle. If Alpha drops down there, he's a dead man walking, but if he's patient enough, he might just catch Chronicle on the way back through. They've got them surrounded on the defense. But it depends on who makes a move. Paranoia is being lined up as we speak. It's going to be fired in by Prophet with a dive from Durka. Nicely done. And they don't keep pushing either. They don't give Fnatic the chance to snatch back those kills.
I was a little worried for a second that if Chronicle gets pinched, it could be a quick payback. And actually, he may still get caught, but it's the jump up from Vekaj. That's enough for him to lose his life. Now there really isn't a way back. Boaster trying to make space, and it is being watched for. They have started to telegraph the play in, and even a correction from Chronicle. There's the guy we know and love. An in-zone flawless right back at you from Vitality.
Yeah, keep in mind, it was last week, right? Kron had his tied lowest performance
A bit of a stink.
ever, which was a real surprise, considering they won. But
Dominantly.
He dominantly indeed, which I think does point towards why that would happen. He wasn't needed as much in that sense. But there were a lot of duels that we wanted to see him hit this for.
Nice, Timo!
That was a nice little spray as well, like you said, going from the dog straight into the headshot. They thought they had him with that, but
yeah,
he's quick on the trigger. Yeah, no notes on Fnatic's side, but yeah, when he hits those shots, there's not much you can do.
Sayonara into the operator, not something we've seen from him just yet.
Okay.
Has worked out wonderfully. I mean, we mentioned Alfia in his form, and taking him out early has always been helpful. The thing is, though, there's been so many players performing on this Fnatic side. Kayak not going to overstay his welcome as they do look to put that pressure down mid. Flash through will be heard, and Chronicle's just committed himself to the vents, not wanting to overface in middle.
I like what Vitality did, delaying the reveal until the Viper wall's down on the other side, guaranteeing them the information. Right now, they know there was one outside A main, but they're keen to take control over mid rather than force that issue, and it's the right play. We'll get them here early to back up the site where Sayonara finds one, but that sells the ruse that there's no one else here. And now they find out the hard way that Prophet was hiding in the shadows. The spike recovered at least. It had dropped down as the player fell.
30 seconds
But getting to the site, finding the plant, you're up against 5 and a showstopper. The op, you know, not even the least of your worries at this point. The hope here is that Kayak can hold the line, that they can bait out a fight. There's the first at least, but they all come swinging right after. Vekaj, for one of the biggest clutches we've seen from him. He'll do well with the first, but that's all she wrote.
Yeah, solid stuff. The complete change of dynamic once Sayonara got that operator in hand, like just able to take those contact positions. But as you sort of said, there always seemed to be a second layer. Like just having Prophet in this position, having Yumpy swing out with the rest of the players just behind him. It made it impossible once that advantage had already been gained. So 2 rounds now, the difference. Again, both pistols going the way of Fnatic. You might look at this and go, okay, they've got a decent lead still. They're not too far behind, but they only really came back into this map late in the last half. It wasn't like it's been a dominant showing from start to finish. And if we start to see some of those other players other than just Durka, as we have now with Chronicle, Sayonara, this map could still go back the other way.
As we said, the last half, make no mistakes, it was a strong start from Vitality, 5-2 up, and Fnatic got their way back into it in the end. It took a minute to find their legs, but once they did, they stood tall. Oh, the legs not even found there by Alpha. Oh, I almost feel like he's been hard done by that. Shot not landed. And they're going back in. It will be off. Hello? I thought it would be off utility. Instead, they've just tried peeked in. Attempt to jump peek to get the shot, to get Sayonara on the line, and he did get on the line. He even found a pick for it, which I think they're fortunate to have at this point. For Fnatic, not accelerating on the back of it. 45 seconds. No stranger to the slow rounds, but it is strange seeing Vekaj on the other side of the map. They're going to need to piece this one together quickly. And as he comes up, there is a big mid push from Vitality filling in this space. It's all down to if they're looking in the right direction, and of course Kron was holding it.
Well, the worry as well, a faster execution, they're going to go straight into that operator, but also a potential showstopper. I don't think they're going to need it. And a fadeaway shot from Sayonara leaves one man standing. Althea, well, he's dealt with the boombot, but there's so much more to come. Again, the paranoia is held into the late round. Again, the stuns are coming his way, and again, the trade is immediate. 3 for Chronicle, 9 now for Vitality, and that lead has diminished to 1.
I'm very eager to see the replay here. If we've got the perspective, yeah, that's so unlucky. If we've got the perspective of Sayonara, that shot was fine, but when he's up in heaven, he's full smoke. The smoke blooms, he's lost sight completely.
It's just timing.
Yeah, that's ridiculous now. He's counted in his head. Okay,
Looking for a new career as a beatboxer.
I'll tell you, he's looking so happy. In the interview earlier as well, he was smiling ear to ear. I've not seen him that happy in a long time. And well, the performance is matching up 9-10. 1 round behind. Momentum there for Vitality. Challenge though for Profak. In they come. Paranoia's good, and so is the judge. He's got backup too, and there's no chance for Kayak. He thought he could pressure Profak, but no. With all his friends close by, Boaster and double. He's got more on the cards. Vekaj to finish off the dinner, and now a 3v2. The advantage to the attackers that were falling like flies moments ago.
Not the weapon of choice, but then you look at what they've got. The Viper's Pit might not even help Fnatic here. That's why they're just pausing, waiting patiently. Cosmic Divide to cover off Heaven, but both players from a lower position. The Gravwell being used to try and move Durka and where he stands. Teammate trying to cover him off, but there goes the judge, there goes Young People. Now it is left all onto Durka. Gonna try and just get back potentially to a rifle, or even just sell the seeds of doubt.
30 seconds left.
Boaster's been on form in this round, but he's got to try and figure out where his previous duelist, where a man who helped him win a couple of trophies, is sitting, and he's slowly piecing it together, slowly looking around those different positions, and now knows exactly where he is. But I believe that is a rifle potentially picked up. No, now he's got a gun in his hand. Timing is going to be everything. He will get the planting, but is trapped in the corner. The shot needs to be landed by Boaster. Durka just spamming away, and eventually he gets the job done. It's close for Boaster, but now that scoreline comes all the way back to level.
Yeah, that's it, the strength there for Durka. Yeah,
by the way, he's just standing spamming the body. Like,
several magazines into the tree.
Oh, he's gone and got another gun and is now spamming the body with a different gun. There we lived it. There you go.
Back in. The round's still going, man. Ticking away.
He's been doing that the entire time. This is, by the way, this is not the gun that he got the last kill with.
Second gun. Well, this is Boaster's gun, right? There it is. And fire a few more in for good measure. Well, that's a hell of a round. And I think for Durka, yeah, the strength there not coming just from his individual ability, but the fact that he plays the clock to his advantage, running that time down, knowing that, yes, he's trapped in a corner right now, but Boaster's not going to push him.
Fnatic have taken the timeout after that, so they had to watch him for 20 seconds spam the body and then go into a timeout.
Yeah. But he ends up swapping positions, right? Durka was trapped in the corner, then Boaster ends up in the same position. The shoe on.
Showstopper has been online for a while. Viper's Pit available as well. It is still there for Vekaj. I'm looking at Althea potentially having his showstopper for this round. Some early presence towards A for Vitality, though. That's where the success has been from Fnatic, so I kind of understand the logic of them potentially going this way, but at least for now, it's again another slow default.
The danger lurking in the shadows, and now set to strike, but, well, he's revealed his hand. They've taken Chronicle in a spam through the orb. And Fnatic, no bruises, no scars to show for that early fight. They've got mid control exceptionally well, and Alpha's patience pays off as the extremities are pushed. This whole round was Fnatic 3 on mid and 1 holding each extremity. Towards B main was Alpha, and VET still holding the line on A, gives them that space that they'll now look to fill into. And the A site, as we can see, a little bit less defended. So they've played this one perfectly, although Dirk is here quite quickly. I would normally say with the judge, I don't know how much he can get done, but I've seen how much he can get done. This is still a dangerous round.
Oh, he's managed to deny the showstopper. Nightfall utilized by Yumpy. And Sayonara is used the showstopper as well. They're trying to pad the gap with the ults, but the gap can't be padded. It is around still the way of Fnatic. It got dicey for a second, but they hold on.
I stand corrected. You can rely on Boaster to keep putting 3Ks up for individuals to carry you forward. Fantastic round from him. And yeah, sure, Durka gets a lot done, cancels out, again, the initial plan for that entry. This wasn't a buying time showstopper. That's one that should be finding you a kill when you're blitzing into the site, but rarely do you expect them to dive at you as you're diving at them. 11 for Fnatic, thanks to Boaster stepping up to the plate and hitting nothing but home runs. Round 22, and a chance to put them onto map point.
Oh, it's risky from Sayonara. Wants to reposition. Now, has given up a lot of space in mid. Now, if he's on the other side of the vents, you've still got the Viper's Pit on A, but then no real route to get there. But because he's moved, they could now split towards the A side with no cover. Now, you can see on the map, he's rotating back around once again. And Althea is just being posted up as an aggressor to try and deny B main control, but he's not going to risk facing off against multiple players.
Well, that's the advantage, obviously, of them not being able to see their opponents on the map. Vitality left the gap. There was a good timing there for Fnatic to exploit it, especially with the Neon. They don't know that. They're not going to go blitzing in towards Heaven willy-nilly and potentially run into a stack, or at least a player waiting for them. Instead, they work the map. They try to pull rotations, but that has only led to Sayonara now being in the perfect position at just the right time, but the shot doesn't land. His teammate inside of a pit is up. Mostly isolated in this battle. The wraparound, though, comes in from Durka. The TP from Profek. Deep Viper's Pit. This is cutting the rotations. They're going to B. They know that A site's more heavily stacked now. Fnatic have played them. And it's only going to be Yumpy who stands in their way. The slide from Kayak deals with him. And Vikaj out of the pit just looking for the decay. Okay, they actually managed to deal with him. And in a 4v3, this is far from a certain conclusion for the defense, but time is an issue. And with Alpha where he is, he could end the round all by himself.
Player standing.
Running through the Cosmic Divide will be enough for the round to go the way of Kayak. He's a man that I think should have been dead. The fact that Yumpy's just unable to do anything, gets his wrists broken. This is it. It just makes no sense. And then they heal him back up. He's ready to go and gets 2 more kills in the round. But that's just, again, though, we talk about this squad, and the one sort of element that none of the players have been able to recreate without Boaster is those mid-rounds. The mid-rounds of this team have always been some of the best in the world. And to realize immediately that there's a stacked up site, even with your Viper's Pit down, and running back the other way, is brilliant.
Well, Vitality, it was a phenomenal start. Keep in mind, this is Fnatic's pick. They built strength quickly. But in the end, Fnatic, the old power, hard to dethrone, hard to deal with. In the last few rounds, Boaster's been the one that's hard to deal with. He's got the operator now, at least as a secondary. And we've seen him do a lot with it in the past, but...
But what?
I misread that. I thought he was going to throw... I thought because he didn't have the early fight, he's going to throw it away, take the rifle, and go sight. He's keeping the op. Now, okay, I like this. I like betting on yourself. We move towards the A site. He's got a chance. He has got a real chance for a pick if Profek was to swing out. But the smoke goes up. He'll be denied back.
The weaponry advantage is massive. Sayonara gonna do a little bit of damage, but he gets domed! Althea sits him down. Dirk has been able to respond back into the hands of his judge, still with overdrive available. 25 seconds on the clock. This time, The Vitality players are in the right place at the right time, none more so than Chronicle.
That flank is going to end the round. They just have to hold the line, and Durkison, so much damage. Chronicle cleans up, and another round for Vitality. The game not over yet. This map, well, it's going to go the distance, and maybe then some. Vitality have looked good here on the defense, and it looked for a moment like Fnatic had all the answers, especially with that opener from Alpha. But the fact that Durka steps in and just says, oh, nice op, man. I used to do that.
I was going to say, if Durka doesn't win this map, he's going to be livid. Like, he has been playing out of his skin.
27-7.
Like, you were watching him swap to a rifle he picked up, headshot someone, swap back to the judge, get in position, and then delay them enough for Chronicle to get those kills. Like, even when he's not killing everyone, he's helping others kill everyone. It has been one hell of a map from him, but now we look at the other side of things, and that extra operator now looks like a bit of a costly expense. Boaster down to a stinger. In fact, the same for Crashies as well.
I'm out of here. Shocking.
Kayak accelerating towards the vents, and Kron for a second thought about giving him the fight, but he's thought better of it now, waiting for Sayonara. They can peek this together though, up on the ropes. Snakebite's even sent in. Kayak almost goes down on the way out. Luckily they won't press. Oh, Boaster's running in. He's taking that control very quickly. I was going to say, Vitality not pressing the issue, but then Fnatic very nearly do. With a judge waiting on one side and Chronicle in the vents on the other, there's no easy choice. But Sayonara's just come into heaven, backing up this squad. They've heard it though. They know this man was previously towards vents. Now he's up in heaven. The weakness should be here, but Kron slips out just as they round the corner. But the healed Kayak ready for the fight. Draws first blood.
Might need to be healed again.
30 seconds left.
Time once more is ticking. And Dirk has gone down. It's going to be left on Yumpy. It's been a quiet game for him so far individually. They're going to need him to stand tall. First comes easy. The rest are going to be a bit more difficult. It's awkward, but he's done well. At least manages to take two. This gives time for Sayonara, but he gets done trying to get past it. To close it. It is a close first map of Split. But Fnatic in the end, they'll get the job done. Fits in that bracket or doesn't, because the other he played was Clove. It's a little bit different. You're basically playing a duelist that happens to have some smokes. On the other side of things, it does look like a move to more comfortable picks. Vekaj going over to that KO, and then Althea, who struggled a little bit on the ISO.
Aggression towards the B site. Fnatic taking a lot of space there. Not pressing into the spawn, and you can see that's what Vitality were hoping they would get out of them. Waiting in the spawn for some fights that are not offered up, not found, and so to the A side they go. Fnatic still filling in that mid space, hoping Alpha can delay long enough with the snakebite. He gets it out, but two players already bursting out of main. The rest will follow shortly. But his reinforcements are arriving, and they are thriving from the side. Vekaj and Kayak with 2, 1 each, and Vitality have halted the push. Stuck inside of main, no map control, and Fnatic are wasting no time. Already filling in the mid space and looking to cut them off in the rotation.
Yeah, when you have Althea available to delay, the rest can go walkabouts, and the expectation is to go back the other way. A firing squad waiting, but a firing squad that loses both fights. The advantage quickly dissipates. And now they're hightailing it all the way to the B site, and open one at that. The high tide thrown through to give them the space to plant. And what looked like a done deal for what would have been a 3 out of 3 pistol now is up for grabs.
Very much so. The HP off Kron and Profek puts them within the danger zone. And some of these fights, especially against that Sheriff, but, well, they've got some low HP players on the other side. That was a good shot by Sayonara, traded back right away, but the reveal, gonna get so much information. Oh, in fact, only catches the one up close, but they'll find the second round the side, or the second will find them. Boaster's done wonderful work and getting inside that cove. It has to be done now! And it comes down to a split second. But Fnatic, the ones to find that defuse just a millisecond early.
I'll be honest, I had to look at the overlay. I had to look at the top. I was like, oh, 1-0
That was down to a pixel.
It was so unbelievably close, but
One enemy.
this is the power of that upgraded cove. Yeah, it's insanely close. I think he probably had to realize after the round loss came up. But that will be the third pistol out of 3 for Fnatic. Another solid start into this one. But the difference is Vitality are a little bit less happy about it. They're going in with a buy.
Snakebite right away. Alpha swapping sides, and he'll be a menace no matter where he is. But the flash was fantastic. Trades are coming in for Vitality. A late play through mid now has so much more value. Oh! I'm thinking he can sneak up, get close to Boaster, catch him off guard, but spam him with the stinger. That was not on my list. Vekaj, 1v3 in a matter of seconds. This round has flipped hands into Vitality's favor. And the openings were great, but that late play through mid from Chronicle, icing on the cake.
People were telling me we're in the Judge Neon meta, not Stinger meta. that was last year. Like, that was a while ago. Like, why am I watching people run around with stingers and dome people from miles away?
Look at this.
Like, that's insanity. This one, that's fair. That's what I expect to see. Not from this range, just like wrecking people from afar. And well, a short-lived early start from Fnatic. They're not going to be able to invest much into this one at all.
Deploying drone.
And even after having both rounds where Viper was on the right side of the map.
Again, I think it was a great idea to just blitz Alpha. But now Fnatic are coming to blitz through the elbow. 4 players, and Kron on a safe distance. He's able to hold the line. Swing in to provide some help, and that help is needed. Jumpy's just being dropped. The numbers overwhelming, and now they're up very close indeed. They've even taken his vision away. Boaster landing a big hit there with Sayonara down below. He's going to be patient, but now his hand is forced into the battle. This is decaying every advantage that Vitality had. Fnatic gearing up now for the retake in a 2v2. They've got rifles to play with, arguably better armed than their opponents, but Durka standing on a podium and will accept nothing but first place in this round. They go in, look into the skies, and well, they're sent deep into the ground. 2-1, Vitality lose the pistol, but they answer back, albeit here in a costly round.
Yeah.
But they have plenty of credits to fall back on.
That's the thing, though. If this wasn't up against full classics, I'd be like, okay. But it was nothing invested. And
yeah.
The reason you're kind of sat there going like, oh, actually, that's not bad for them is because they just won round 2. Like, if this was any other round, we'd be sat here a little bit worried. Be like, okay, I give them wiggle room.
Yeah, if that was round 2 and they won the pistol, we're in big trouble.
Exactly. But it was isolated fights. Like, everybody ended up fighting on their own. And it's not the greatest of signs for Vitality early in this one. Obviously, you don't expect the full squad to run at you every single round. Fnatic are going to play more passively.
And I do think that also shows the strength of what Boaster talked about last week in terms of why they took, I think Nat asked in an interview why he took the Harbor instead of the Astra, and he said, look, with setting up the stars, it just doesn't flow as well. And this allows us to be more aggressive, it allows us to be more reactive and to react quicker. And you're seeing it there in that round, how much more aggressive, how quick they could pounce. That wouldn't be possible with Astra, with all the setup needed.
Oh, Viper's pit. They've thrown the spike over to Chronicle just to get him this ultimate. Allows him control of the backside. KO, of course, brought in order to try and deny some of that utility, but this is going to be difficult. Everything being thrown through to try and catch Chronicle. Hunter's Fury being expended by Sayonara for support, hoping to try and give him a little bit of help. He's done some tickle damage, but of course, the most of that is decay, and Chronicle still surviving a double kill with the shock dart instead. And now they're being caught by the remainder, even still. It feels like Crashies has a chance. Flash out, though, makes it impossible. Both peaking at the same time. Solid round from Sayonara. And that lead will be extended by Vitality.
So it's a great pit, first of all. The changes to the Viper's pit make it much more intentional in terms of where you're looking and how it's going to shape up. It has that gap for Chronicle to fall back into. He's firing out the right clicks, and that's the beauty of it. If you kill him, it does not matter, because you are automatically so low on HP that the shock darts, if not the spams, are going to take you down. A really nice and well played out round for Vitality. Sayonara with a double, putting him 7-1 off the shock darts. And as you said, 3-1. a real upset to what should have been the flow of this early half with Fnatic finding the pistol, and they've yet to reach 2. Hunter's Fury fired very early, and it's failed to get even a tag. Profek too far away to receive the damage there.
Just under pressure. We saw this in their last game as well. They sometimes call with util, but not this time.
Dude, I'm Astra.
The util has worked wonderfully. The run-through gives Perfect. Crashy's weighing on the other side, maybe looking for supportive utility, maybe even calling for a flash. But it wasn't there in time. Perfect trying to bait his opponent into a mistake, and Sayonara is just waiting on the other side. A screen falls in one regard, but there's another in the way.
Open the door, and now the drone goes out on A. Hopefully they think both are in main. That's what Vitality are thinking. That's what Profek is thinking, but they've got more than enough on Fnatic to just sit back and cover all their bases. Profek, he's looking the right way, but that's a deep angle to clear. He's gonna have to just walk through, and he won't even find the opening fight. Sayonara, 7-1. That KD about to take a hit. They found him in main. The knife revealing the position. Oh, doesn't even get the first shot off there as Alpha baits him back and forth in the fight, and a triple swing closes it. Fnatic finally finding their second.
Yeah, better round from them. I think this was one of the major issues that they had when facing off against Eternal Fire was you did see those moments where Boaster would get overwhelmed. A lot of the time he was left as that solo anchor. I think it was Vekash mostly playing on the other side of the map, and then you didn't have either the KO utility because it was an ISO in there. It was basically you had your duelist just going to fight, and he had to anchor. Now it seems like they've swapped up to have a lot more support alongside him. It's looking better, even in the rounds that they didn't necessarily win. And you also have to take into consideration they only got 3 rounds on their defense last time, and they still won.
I have grown into a fan of Harbor's kit. I think obviously the old version was just mostly useless, but there's a lot that can be done with this, and we're about to see another example. Profek lining up the ultimate, a big old wave coming their way, and if you get caught by it, you ain't seeing a damn thing. Plunged into the depths, and while Boaster tries to respond, it's a bit of a misread on the pace of the round. Durka had already dashed in, taken deep control. Kayak behind the wall, wasn't seen. They think the space is clear, and now he'll step in and catch himself a double. The round's back on for Fnatic. It's a small gap from Vitality, but oh, a gap on the other side exploited. Well handled. Chronicle manages to find himself one, and they keep these trades back and forth. The time ticking for Fnatic to get on that spike, and there's a snake in the grass. Their backlines being threatened as Kron wraps all the way around. They'll go to check it. Crashy's casting an eye in that direction, but Vekash falls in the meantime, and he is soon to follow. 4-2. Vitality right back to winning ways.
The older members, or the old members of Fnatic facing off against the new blood that replaced them. It's almost a little bit of poetic justice, but there's the old that manages to hold on in this scenario. And I do also think you can just see the value in those additional initiators. Like that double that comes through from Kayak is off the back of a reveal that stops one player, and then a flash that catches the player in front while he looks away. It's just lovely timing, but then you see the response from Vitality again. Durka on point, very aggressive. And while the trade's just about in favor of Vitality, Chronicle incredibly low, but he is still standing.
Good pacing for early round, especially against an ultimate like that from Neon. When they're on a low buy, very likely that they'll pull it out, and Vitality stay grouped. No individual fights offered, at least not in positions where they can't back off. If they do start to feel the heat dialing up, but now Fnatic have got all their players bunkered down on the back of this site. 2 fall, but still 1 standing, and Alpha brings this down to a 1v2. Chronicle on 15 HP, and with the pit in play, this could very easily become an awkward round. It's a wonderful shot from Alpha. Ready and waiting for that final swing. He's caught Yumpy in the open, but the shots, they do not land for Fnatic. 5-2 now. And Yumpy, you can see spirits being lifted by winning out that clutch.
Well, I'll say, if you were watching the last map or the way that this map has gone so far, you would have bet your house on Alpheus to win that one.
Absolutely.
Those were the first 3 kills the Yumpy's had in this map. Impactful ones at that, though.
Best IGL, bro. Good shit, bro.
5-2 to be going into that attack.
Well, round 8 about to kick off after timeout. We'll see what work has been done. I see an operator in the hands of Kayak, and he's looking to get aggressive on mid, but no one there from Vitality just yet. Holding the line, though, has its own value, and the drone, though, will spot him if he sticks around. They don't want to reveal the operator just yet. So he simply hides from it and fills back in that gap later. But there is a real lack of information in play for Fnatic. They don't know what's going on. There's an orb even blocking any vision of mid. They have to be worried about the wrap up, and all the while it's a more direct play. Straight through B main. Crashies strikes from the side and gets absolutely blinded by that flash. There was nothing he could do about it, but Alpha, well, he's got some ideas of how to recover this round. Lands himself one with Boaster by his side. It's a 3v2.
Sayonara a little bit further back. Hoping that maybe that gives him an angle, but both players towards the spawn. Boaster not giving them anything. They are waiting to see if they attempt to plant. Bear in mind, Sayonara getting a plant here would get his ultimate online, but they'd have to switch players, and they're not willing to do that at this stage. Wanting to make sure he can get back into position. No command utilized. He'll take that utility away, and Propic's trying to get ahead of them, but Kayak just too quick on the trigger. But Sayonara, he's going to need somewhat of a hero play. He's very wary that somebody's coming in from that flank position. With the Cove in the way, the second he starts spamming, they're going to be back on that defuse. There is not really anything he can do from this point. 3 bullets left. Boaster already pushing him. And the man that stood in for them for a moment has met that master once again.
A nice round to start off. I think just the constant trades from Fnatic after the start, which Crashies put them ahead in. You can see it, Boaster and Alpha filing in towards that back site, the utility going up. At the point as well, when that Cove is reinforced, like you said, the game's over. There's genuinely nothing you can do about that round to fight your way back through. But the problem so far for Fnatic is they found a round and not being able to connect anything afterwards. Yeah, I think mostly it's not even being close on the back of it, but that is the start they needed. Big player for the late round. Chronicle out of the round already. And Kayak's up, still sitting around causing issues.
Yeah, the second he's got it into play, we've seen the impact from it. Put in positions to thrive, and with the advantage, you sort of mentioned it in the last round, Fnatic have been very good at trading things back. Still potential to even put the pit into play if they need it, but with how slow these rounds have gone, a little bit more reliant on that contact play. Again, though, we're just going to see the slow cross towards this connector. That's where Kayak is watching.
Crashies has so much info on B. There's 4 players A because they know the hit cannot come in on the other side of the map. So as they march in hoping to catch a few players off guard, they run into the entirety of Fnatic except for that man who's waiting behind them and strikes the final blow. An in-zone flawless from Fnatic, and you know, often I'd say it's because they had the numbers, right players there at the right time, but that guy's did a lot of that work all by his lonely. Clean work, Sayo, a bit of an open angle to put that ult through on. And a timeout from Vitality as Fnatic start to close the gap. It's the first time we've seen more than a blip on the radar for Vitality here.
Yeah, back-to-back rounds
comes your way. For Fnatic, it all comes down to the very start of the round. The fact that Crashies walks up in B, takes this position super deep, and just has that line for the entire round until they eventually push when he wraps in the flank and just plays full containment. It was a perfect play from Crashies. The result speaks for itself. Dodging the reveal, Kayak smartly played. He knows his distances. You know that Sayo's going to be a bit more cautious about where he drones from after last round. Now, a plant for Vitality, sure, but already a man behind, and they're going to pay with their HP bars as well. Oh no, the shot guard didn't land, and now they're up close. They're looking to force the issue. Fnatic are all here, though. They've backed off, they've given them the space, and now they'll give them the steal. Very well done. Yumpy with no chance up close. And that's a perfect counter to the aggression that Vitality were putting down.
Just like the last map, we see a lead extended in that first half. We see it look like Vitality are going to run away with it. Pause called, immediate turnaround. Like Fnatic back in the server once again. And I don't know, that might just be small corrections coming in from the coaching staff. I don't think it was major strategical things that were being left open, but whatever those small tidbits are, they are making a massive difference. 3 in a row. That defensive side looking far, far better than what we saw versus Eternal Fire, and while Vitality will be dreading the fact that this is the time they're looking better on this map, because it might just be another opportunity for history to repeat itself. And add another, I don't even know what would we be at, 8? I think it was 7-0 when we looked earlier.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it depends how far back in history you go. Outside of VCT, it's even more so, 8 or 9. But the key thing is, kickoff, it was a 2-0, and Vitality got flattened. I think 13-8 was the best result, 13-5 the other. And then before that, they've been able to take maps off them, being in BO5s and BO3s, but never to convert the series. Okay, I thought that was going to be the elimination, but Chronicle manages to sidestep the second burst, at least for now. We stay in a 5v5, but that Viper's Pit is making the A site not a very friendly territory to take fights in. At least from main. Does look like they're thinking about crossing.
Yeah, the op is also holding in towards Con. It's now in Boaster's hands, so they've swapped up with 3 rifles towards the B side of the map. Still some supportive utility available. A bit of an off angle from Kayak, but they've let them through. They're now running past. They don't realize that there's still a man behind them, but they've dealt with one. He's got to be careful, though, that there isn't another player behind, which there is, but he's managed to get past him. So many targets for him to try and face off against. Spike dropped, but more needed and more delivered. Kayak going for extra, but it's now left all on to Boaster. The rest have been dealt with the patience of Chronicle. We talk about this man's operator. Can he do it again? Oh, chance.
But he gets him on the rifle. And now we're down to a 1v1. Chronicle versus Boaster. We saw it with Durka earlier on, and needless to say, he was thrilled to win it. Snakebite lands. Boaster doesn't have an angle. He taps it though. As the Viper's Pit goes down, Kron closing in the distance, but that doesn't cover the spike. He'll still have to step out to get towards it, and he can't spam. Has to step into the bubble. Boaster showing him that he's got it to happen. He's going to stick it right under his nose. Bravado from the big boss, Boaster. Sure, he will fall, but Fnatic find the lead as a result.
That second tap was just in his head. That's when you're Chronicle, there you go. He's got it to half. He's tapped it again to bait me.
He's telling me. Yeah.
That is Boaster inside his head. Filthy stuff from the IGL.
Why are you peeking at 2v1, bro?
Outplayed and a lead taken from Fnatic, 6-5. 4 rounds in a row, making the guy with the most trophies of all time look foolish on that stage.
Boaster's having a hell of a game so far. Fnatic bringing Vitality right to hell as the new residents. It's 6-5, but 7 could be on the board any moment now. Durka and Sayonara all that stand in their way. And now just down to Sayo, surrounded, outnumbered and dealt with. It's 7-5. Fnatic slow to start, but by God, they got there in the end.
Yeah, from 5-2 down to end up winning the half. It's impressive, and the manner in which they've done it. It's definitely going to be that little bit more of a good feeling. The fact is, though, there's still a second half to go. Vitality need to recover nonetheless. Let's head over to an interview with some of their fans versus you in a manner that is, it's him reading you perfectly. Like, it's you basically following his script to the T, and then you have to look him in the eye afterwards. Not a good feeling. Even still, Vitality now come in looking for their first pistol. Sure, they won a second round in the last half, but the pistol rounds have just not been going their way. And if Fnatic get this one and do convert, again, they look to be running away with it.
Well, Vitality in history have made their way through many different super teams. Almost all of them, or all in fact, I think have faced Fnatic. All have lost to Fnatic. And for them, I suppose, It's always a good metric. Have we actually built the super team this time? Have we actually put the right pieces together? Well, this is as good a barometer as you can possibly find. Getting past Boaster as the final boss of a successful roster is an achievement that Vitality have never managed.
Alpha's nickname, isn't it? The final boss of EMEA.
Exactly.
It literally is in the name.
Flawless victory after flawless victory. A few maps lost along the way, but for Vitality, they've yet to find the golden fleece to their Jason.
So passive on this B site. They've been sitting back, waiting for someone to make a move, and that move has been made.
30
Boaster has
seconds left.
walked up mid, giving him so much space. He's watching for that rotation, wins the fight versus Dirk, and no support is coming. The cavalry was called for, and there is no cavalry to be found. They have tripped on their way to the site. And you might be looking at a Fnatic coming in with seconds to spare, but they managed to just take that space so effortlessly, just find the gaps in what Vitality put out. And okay, there's one gap back the other way. That's at least a pick, but there's so much more needed from Prophet. He needs to fight all of them at once, and it's just not going to happen.
I was going to say, you're counting out Yumpy so soon, but
Yes.
It wasn't that soon. Seconds later, the round's over. 8-5 for Fnatic. The Pistols have been looking very good for them in this series. 4 for 4 indeed. In terms of good starts to a half, well, yet to see what happens here, but 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Because the last one was a little shaky. Win the pistol, go 3-1 down. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't have said it better myself. Round 14, and this is what could be the biggest challenge for Fnatic. The last round 2 was awful. This one surely has to be much better. And it will very much hammer a nail into the coffin of Vitality. This is going to start to smother them out of the early, or out of the game. If 9-5's on the board, the next rifle has all of the pressure on it, all the stakes built up towards it.
Patience. It's been the name of the game. A lot of damage being done, though. Vitality have got 2 players low, 4 players in the right place at the right time. Alfie has now been dealt with as well. He was one of the healthier players, and Sayonara has come up with a quick double. The remainder are the ones with low HP. It is looking like history might repeat itself here, with Chronicle being one of the players standing still on full health, and he's brought Vekash even lower, as if it wasn't dangerous before. He's now a shot to any gun, but they are going to get the plant.
Not yet.
No weapons found, but it might not matter. They look to walk up, only connecting onto one player, so the other's still a relative unknown. That's one of them into Boaster again. The same battle as before, the same fight versus 2 players that have that history together. The swing out doesn't quite connect anything, and the time's starting to work in favor of Boaster. He's just playing games with his opponent, but this time Chronicle comes out on top. It is a second round victory in both halves from Vitality.
Kron on top and on his feet as well. This time it goes a different way, and I actually can't believe that they've done it twice in a row. Because we talk about this, the best way to start a half is to lose the pistol and win the second round. The problem is, doing that is usually very...
Swing me, good boy, swing me.
Oh no. And you know the best part is, Boaster, right before he pops in, I'm sorry, right before he goes in for that final fight, he baits steps towards the left side. He baits that he's wrapping around, then blinds his opponent, deafens him, and runs back around the other way. But Kron is just faster on the trigger, and really, Boaster's 9 HP.
I don't think that's the worst part. I think the worst part is Chronicle maybe not realizing that Boaster probably enjoys being called good boy. Of all the people on the stage, I think he's going to be okay with it. Did we see him earlier talking to Yumpy?
Yeah, that was threats. Let me put it this way, threats were made. And, well...
If anything, you've hyped him up.
I think we're all hoping to see that if he backs it up. 8-6 for Fnatic. A 9th round evades them in what should have been, and in almost any other game, except the ones yesterday, would have been a guarantee. There were no guarantees yesterday, I'll tell you that. They're left down to the Pistols themselves. Now, making this work would possibly cause another crash out on my behalf, but it is the
Careful.
rifle to lead the way. Durka on the high angle. The flash is going to blind him, and he is sent back around this site,
Oh, no.
naded out of position, back up, walled off as well. Pressure on for Durka to deliver, and he'll get nothing. Another rifle on the floor to be retrieved for Fnatic on pistols themselves. I don't believe what I'm witnessing, but they're trading it out, keeping the advantages
he's
in
in
play for the attack side. Chronicle stepping forward. It's only a classic that meets him, but he catches him just
Last
before he
player
falls, but
standing.
left on 21 HP against 2 rifles, Alpha and Vekaj to face off against him. It would be another clutch for Chronicle, another big round, but it's not to be. Alpha here climbing back to his peak, and Fnatic 9-6 as a result. As a wise man once said, what is going on?
It is funny though, because you come into this round, I think Alpha is 7 and 11, he goes, nah, I'm gonna hero rifle, I'm gonna win it for us. And then they just bait for him all the way through. His players swinging to give him opportunities. But even then, he gets tagged down to 5 HP, and from that point onwards, he doesn't miss a single bullet. That is how good this man's peak is, but the fact is for Vitality, those excuses, maybe in the first map you can go, you lost both pistols. That's a bit of an excuse.
Sure.
In this one, you still lost both pistols, but you won both second rounds, and you still find yourself 9-6 down.
Yeah, first half it very much stands. In a 13-11, losing both pistols is literally the reason that you lost. But here, well,
Should be winning.
you should be dominating. After losing pistol, winning second, and now here we are, 9-6 down. Okay, pistols in play for Vitality. You gotta take it seriously. That's a lesson the Fnatic have learned, and now applying their learnings. Chronicle, a sliver of health left, the man who abandoned this banner, being put to bed by them surely in a 4 versus 1. He stands no chance, and he has to flee to the A site to have any chance of saving this weapon. Even then, they are hunting him down.
Yeah, they do not want to let him escape with this gun, but also you do have to feel like maybe this is a little bit more than just taking the weapon away.
Yeah. Take the man away.
It's always been difficult to crush his spirit, but
Shock dart. He knows where you are now. This is dangerous.
I know, that's the thing though, he's just waiting. This has been a lot of what we've seen from Fnatic. Is he going to trade him? Oh, it's very close. A martyrdom shock dart. Vekaj should get the kill in the end anyway. Makes no difference. Gun not kept. Chronicle at least has a Viper's Pit online, and they're both smiling, but one of them is 3 rounds away from victory, and one is 3 rounds away from still being around behind.
Very well put indeed. Yeah, Fnatic definitely the squad with less to worry about at this point, and with a solid response to, again, a major mess up in losing round 2 of this half and the last half. The fact that they've corrected and now steamed into the lead, 4 rounds ahead, double digits, and as you said, 3 away from not just closing the map, but the series in what would, again, on paper, 2-0, be dominant fashion. And this map's certainly the case. We look to Vitality. They need to find their second wind and fight back in to this map, but for now, the mid push denied. They're pressed back, and the A site's already fallen.
This is a tough retake. Hunter's Fury, which, okay, it might not be used all the way into the late round, but definitely going to be a disruptive force. Flash going through on both sides. And a little bit of tickle damage done. In fact, Vekaj has been eliminated, but the later the round gets, the more effective Yonki becomes. Oh, sorry, Crashies becomes. He's sitting all the way back, making sure he can't be caught, but even still the spams are working, and now comes that Hunter's Fury. He has to try and do it all. 2 players were desperately low, but he didn't realize it. Instead, he's going to go swinging. He will have to check to see if they're defusing, and this time Sayonara holds the line. They'll get Yonki back on board, and they will have time for that defusal.
They came into last week, a freshly forged blade, hot from the furnace, and with a sharpened edge with Sayonara on the roster. Coming now up against their historic rival. They need every piece to be online. Firing at full force, and at least for now that seems to be the case. That was a big round, but because of how we got here, it's not going to be an easy follow-up. You've got to the green, but you don't have to tap it in just yet. They got to wrestle past another full buy.
I think the question as well, though, will be if this is another 2-0, can you call it a rivalry?
That's a fair point.
They've taken the players, but I don't know. There'll be arguments. Fnatic versus Liquid has always been a battle, but this one always goes one way. It is up to Vitality to prove there is something different. I like that we just watched Alfia walk down mid and then take both hands off mouse and keyboard to fix his monitor, but we'll ignore that.
Game sense, mate. He knew they weren't going to peek.
He was in a relatively safe space, but it still looks funny.
On the fly adjustments. And a battle brewing in mid, but it's on the A site. The Fnatic find success. Chronicle's already down. Hunter's Fury sent through. Good tag, and the follow-up doesn't seem to be there. They've lost Alfia. On that attack side, the mid presence gone. Now the Vitality can fully focus on the side. A big fight coming, but Turka goes down. Shock Dart's the one to trade it out, and Fnatic want to walk up, press deep towards that left side, but Sayonara wrapping around, only caught by Kayak after he draws blood, but Kayak keeps on going, cutting through this Vitality retake and leaving Yumpy in a tough spot. They're just confirming, that he's not on the spike, but the re-peek from Boaster is bold! But Kayak delivers the final blow. 11 rounds on the board. They gave him a chance there, but just as quick, they took it away.
Yeah, and it's immediate response. A singular round, same as we saw in the last half, but without the streak that we had from Fnatic. Not able to get these closer moments over the line. And they're going to try and, well, maybe recreate some of that magic that came from the Fnatic coaching staff. As they're going to take a tactical pause. I think one that's needed.
The rivalry they've created, I agree. This is their chance to show that, and already a better showing indeed than what we saw at kickoff. But if it ends 2-0, it's much the same, just a different skin.
Well, Turka without a gun, but he does have the blades. That's not a bad start to the round. Only down to a singular knife, and they managed to deal with both. Sayonara will keep the advantage in Vitality's favor for now. But with a Viper's Pit and the site under their control, the only thing I will say, it might not be worth it in this scenario, especially now that we've seen that shot connected by Chronicle, but also with the other utility available. A quick round, a round that goes in Vitality's favor, looking like Fnatic tried to just run it down to close.
3 rounds in the gap, and
this is nasty.
I mean, they've had success in terms of going deep on mid, and we talked about how the Harbor enables them to do that, so it's no surprise they want to go aggro like that. Worked very well towards those fights in elbow. And this man shows up in the end. 19-13 now for Chronicle. But a 3-round gap still sustaining for Fnatic. A low buy, and, well, these rounds have been very difficult to count out from what we've seen so far. There are still dangers, but I like Vitality's approach. They're not trying to scrap on A main. They don't even want the information. They are sitting, they're not even sitting on site, so far back behind yellow. So they can still spot, they can still destroy some utility, deny information, but they don't want to get overwhelmed here. That's the key to success on the defense.
They almost don't want to post plant, because I was going to say, they've got a couple of Buckies and they have a Viper's Pit. Like, a post plant here would actually be quite scary.
Very good point.
But with Kayak going down, the overdrive disappears. I'll be curious to see if they still go for it. They do. They want to force them into an awkward battle. Now, the Reckoning from Prophet is a huge piece. It can leave them all blinded and in an awkward position, but they step out and then step back in. Now, the HP deficit's going to be in the other direction. The spams from Boaster, but he takes the majority of damage. It's an awkward battle within this pit, but the Bucky's going to become more threatening by the second. Can they do enough? And Alfia's still here. He's still hiding. He still has a snake bite. That will buy even more time off the clock. Another one comes up and it's left all onto Crashies. And although you'll see a couple of 1 HPs, it's close, but it's not close enough.
Yeah, I think really close. We missed it, but Alpha jumping out of the pit, Bucky in hand. And if he finds that shot, he drops the pit on the other side, because I think it was Chronicle he'd face. And then has a chance to obviously keep pit online, keep that decay rolling, but instead, he loses the fight. And with it, the round slips away. And really it was because he was forced to send through the snake bite to stop the defuse. His position's given up and then he has to flee. Otherwise, you are just waiting for death to come knocking. 11-9. A damn good try at what was a low buy, a low investment, and sure, one ult put towards it, but it gave them an opportunity. Here's where the real chances are for Fnatic to end this series, or at least to take one more step and be right at the door of a victory of their own. It's going to be wall up towards A as well. They have blocked out all of the players from Vitality, and with Reckoning, I assume to be sent through, but not for now.
Oh, decent spam, but unfortunately it's onto a player that can be brought back, trying to bait them in to go for the fight, and they have done. Chronicle down, Vekash back. Hunter's Fury also going through. Fnatic are using everything in this round just to try and disrupt. They've only managed to find a singular pick. Operator still at the back line, but they've kept that Reckoning and Overdrive available. Yeah, Hunter's Fury got from the plant, but again, we're running out of ultimates. Luckily, Boaster still has his to work with. Another great shock dart in from Sayonara, and a trade out up close. Durka's Operator shotgun pays dividends. Good flash, and Prophet capitalizes with a pick. Shock dart sent through again. This time it's on Fnatic's side. They find a pick and crashes! Connects the shots right after. One after another. 12-9 we go. 3 chances for Fnatic to dish up that same old meal for Vitality. A series lost against the final bosses of EMEA. It's such solid work. I think they used a lot of their ultimates in that round, knowing how important it was to sort of get it over the line. 3 put into play, and one of them right at the very end as well. Like Boaster, I think if it had been slightly earlier, it would have been perfect, but it still made things very, very awkward for those Vitality players looking to try and swing with almost everything expended. But you also have to bear in mind the damage that has done to Vitality's economy. No more Operator for Durka, Yumpy down to a Guardian as well. I'm sure they're definitely slightly better off in terms of ults, but they're the ones looking in the face of another 2-0 defeat. They're the ones under pressure, with Prophet having to try and just retreat away from the site. But if you look at the position of the spike, there's no guarantee this is an A site hit at all.
Oh, Boaster's the one opening it. That's Durka down as well. What a head-to-head to kick off what could be the last round. Vitality in trouble with this A-site hold. If they lose Prophet on the peak, and Crashies will strike from that corner. Now backup is arriving, and although Crashies falls, the numbers, they don't fall unless Chronicle goes huge! A 3-piece, Boaster tagged as well, and Sayo the one to drop him. It is not over yet. Not unless Alpha's got another big play, but he meets Gron. The Battle of the Vipers swings to the defenders, and again, he's on his feet.
We spoke about that last week. He didn't have a great performance, but he wasn't really needed. The rest of the team was there. The fact is, Chronicle has always done his best work in moments where his team need him the most. This was the moment they needed him the most. Facing up against that point, 2 men down already, and he takes 4 while defending the site, almost completely alone. Sure, Sayonara is there at the end, but he had to do the majority of the work. 12-10. A lifeline, and again a weaker buy, but Fnatic looking to maybe be that little bit more pacey, in fact very pacey.
Oh yeah, they are blitzing this down. Prophet can't even put any utility down to slow them. A wonderful KO knife, but instead Durka, he tries to slip through, but again, Boaster wins that head-to-head, and now the snake bite from Alpha with a little tickle up from Crashies puts us in the advantage for Fnatic. Map and series point on the line, and Sayonara stepping in early into the den of Fnatic, and he'll find one. The stun good, the shock better, and Sayo stands deep into the round. When he falls, he's given them a chance, a spark of hope, but they need to fan that into a flame, and Alpha is putting them out, snuffing out the light from Vitality's hope. And Yumpy, the leader.
My ult's ready.
And he's got Alpha and He's only got Crashies now to deal with. Hold on. There is still a chance. needs to get this to half or at least win that fight on the jump. It's all down to Crash. He's buying time, running the clock lower and landing the final blow. History repeats itself for Fnatic. Never to lose a season.